welcome everyone. I'm Melania Mayor from SAP Switzerland. Hoi zusammen. And I'll be your co-host today for the 15th annual SAP Treasury Conference. So welcome to everyone, also for the ones that are joining us online, that prefer that way, but the ones that are here, we did not want another call, right, for 8 hours. So good to have you here despite the flight delays. Will be awesome. We have such a nice agenda. So I have today my accomplices, my colleagues. Arif?
Yeah, thank you, Melania, and welcome from my side as well. Nice to see some faces here. As I say, my name is Arif Eza, part of the solution management team. I'm happy to be here not only alone with Melania from Europe, but as well with my colleague Harish. If you see here, we are not alone. We're everywhere. We have many, many countries. Even though if you look to the number of people here, and number of sessions we will have during the next 2 days, we have indeed heterogeneous audience, and that's why welcome you here, and I'm happy to be here, part of the journey, and again, enjoy the 2 days. And especially Harish came from a North America team, and then welcome you here as well, and maybe you could shed some light why you are here, Harish.
Thank you, Arif. So Arif and I work together quite a lot. Almost every day we talk to each other. But seeing each other in person, doing that handshake after 2 years is very exciting. And that was my primary reason to come here and be at this event. But thank you for inviting me here. I'm based out in the North Americas in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, our US headquarters. Been with SAP for more than 5 years, but I have been in SAP ecosystem for more than 22. And I'm very excited to be here and to be welcoming you today. As you can see here on the screen, the event is fully booked. We have more than 200 plus attendees from around the globe. We have 15 plus customer-led events, which means customers like yourself are going to share their experience over the next day and a half. And we have microforum events where you'll learn about some of the things that you probably have not heard of. We hope so. And also, you will get a lot of opportunity to do networking breaks through coffee breaks and lunch. And I think there's some reception event also planned in the evening. You'll hear about it from our host later. So again, once again, I would like to welcome the speaking companies here and thank them for their time as well.
Melania, maybe the sponsor, you would like to talk something about?
Exactly, now we have the sponsor. So we are so honored that JP Morgan joined us this year to be our platinum sponsor. We have PwC as well. And whom else is? Yeah, ICD, Deloitte, the entire team is here. Treasury community is complete. So happy to have everyone here as our sponsors.
And then the agenda, Melania, maybe something?
Well, yes, this is why we're here. So we will start with an opening from SAP side, and then we will go through our customer success stories. So we will start with JP Morgan, GTI, then we will have Nobian, Hitachi, Zalando, super great stories, can't wait to have them. And also, we will have some microforums from which one you can choose. We will explain that later. You need to choose wisely to which one you want to participate. So yeah, that is the agenda for today. I hope you stay until the end for sure. So now I will invite America to walk us through what happens in the evening, right? Because we have also this socializing, get together, most important. America?
Hi, everyone. Is my mic? So, of course, that's not all. We also have prepared a wonderful evening reception with drinks for everyone. So it's just a stroll away. So we are going to be meeting from 6 to 8:30 this afternoon. We have wonderful views on the entire city. So just join us. Anyone who wants to stay and continue in the hotel, you're welcome to. Just you have to head inside. So let me go to the next one. Oh, how do I go? the next slide. Okay, not here. Is that green arrow? Okay. Okay. So then, so yeah, we have a fantastic app that we put together this year. If you are not able to join us together in the group, when we go to the hotel, you can look for the information where the location of the hotel. If you have any questions on how to use the app, you have a QR code in the back here. Go ahead and scan that. You will all have your individual login details, so go ahead and use that. We hope you get around and take a look. We also have a Treasuropoly game that we will be playing later today. So, and is this? Oh, there. Okay. So again, a huge thanks to all of our sponsors. We have a fantastic group of prizes that we have, and we will be giving away tomorrow after lunch. So in order to play that, just go into the Treasuropoly widget. You'll see some instructions there. So, you know, join in the fun and try your luck. So that's very fun. Oh. Next one. Okay. So I would like everyone to please get involved. Also, we have our social wall also on the app. You can go ahead and use our hashtags. We have a hashtag for everything. So go ahead and join the conversation. And also, we have a LinkedIn community. So please join that as well on LinkedIn, and we will keep you up to date on the latest events and other information that's relevant. All the presentations that are taking place here today will be professionally recorded. They are recorded, and say hi to all the people joining us digitally. And all the presentation decks will be made available on the platform within the next week. So thank you all very much. So without making anyone wait any longer, we're gonna go ahead and kick off. I'd like to welcome Christian Nisch on the stage. Be telling us a little bit about the 50 years at SAP. Thank you so much, Christian.
Good morning, America. Thank you for inviting me. And is the clicker working now?
Yeah,
Just getting nervous.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's run the video.
Yeah, 50 years.
50 years ago, 5 engineers realized something. It's not the strong who survive. It's the insightful, the intelligent, the innovative. Those who could see the unseen and do the undone. Those who could unleash imagination, challenge the impossible, and pull off the unreal in real time. People called us unconventional. And guess what? They were right. Because you'd have to be obsessively original and fearlessly passionate to invent an entire industry and change the entire world. 50 years later, an ecosystem of game changers are still creating breakthroughs, all the while listening, learning, and questioning answers, staring down challenges, and shaping a better tomorrow. Not to mention making sustainable possible. So stay fearless and relentlessly driven by purpose, and always remember, innovation may be what we do, but helping the world run better while improving people's lives is who we are.
Welcome and good morning, everybody. So I'm so excited to be back on stage and to welcome you here in the nice city of Barcelona. My name is Christian Nisch. I have the pleasure heading up the Treasury and Working Capital Management Solution Management team at SAP SE. So you met some of my team members this morning. So we are so proud to see the entire community again back at a physical conference, but we don't want to miss also to welcome our joiners that are joining us from the digital event today. 50 years SAPs, 15 years of Treasury conference. I'm not sure how many of you have been with all of the conferences that we have done over the last 15 years. I had the pleasure to be with all of them. I know that from the partners community and maybe for the one of the other client, that might be the case as well. For those of you that don't remember the great history, we've been in nice cities. We've been in Barcelona already 2 times, so now we are the 3rd time here in Barcelona. We had 2 virtual events in between. Now we have a hybrid version, and we hope that we can continue with the physical event. So I would also like to take the opportunity to thank all the organizers from the TA Cook team, but also from the partners, from my team, from everybody that is involved here in the back office to make this happen. So that was really, I would say, an interesting journey, and for many of us, it was a bit like learning again, right? So after 2 years of a break, that was certainly a big challenge. 50 years of SAP. SAP was founded in 1972. The 4 founders, they had the idea to get rid of the stamp cards and to introduce real-time software. And meanwhile, the world has changed. SAP has tremendously been successful over the last couple of years by introducing new software solutions, helping the world run better, and trying to become a very sustainable company as well, and helping clients to be the same. Starting from a real-time application software world, the dimension of the product portfolio has evolved over time, as you can see, and meanwhile, it's not a single ERP product as it was when I joined SAP back in 2004. And meanwhile, it's a variety of products, all built on latest technology, which starts with the business technology platform underneath, which is our backbone for every innovation that we are bringing to market, putting the solid application layer on top, which you can see in the green area that includes solutions like ERP, which is essentially S/4HANA these days, but also HCM, CX, so customer experience and customer relationship management solution, as well as spend management solution, all aligned with the nice fit of complementing solution portfolio around the business network, the analytical capabilities, and last but not least, business processes that are tailor-made for industry specifics. More than 25 industry flavors are being delivered as well. And this is, of course, a great pool which we can leverage from a treasury point of view, which we are really proud of. Just some figures. SAP is, of course, involved in many large corporations, and as you can see here, 17% of world's transactions are touching an SAP system. So you can understand what a supply chain disruption also means for us as a company and how we can make sure that we are supporting our clients with their current challenges. But all in all, we are very proud to be here. 50 years of SAP, what does it mean for Treasury? Treasury, for those of you that are not aware about that, is already part of the SAP ERP solution since roughly 30 years. Started with cash management, but then was also involved with TRM. And over the last couple of years, we have invested a lot in having a very solid portfolio, which I'm proud of and which we will introduce and explain you over the course of the next 2 days. We are very happy that lots of the customers that are taking advantage of our solutions are here with us today, talking about their experience, coming together on stage with their partners that help them to implement the solution and to take most out of the investment they have made. Finally, we are also proud that a couple of customers have been awarded just recently, Sony together with the partner Sanders, which is of course great achievement, and congratulations to the entire team that you made it happen. There are a number of other clients that have been awarded over the last couple of years. I don't want to name all of them, but congratulations to be part of that community. Also, big thank you to the ecosystem, the partners, the fintechs, the banks that are with us. This is a very important complementary ecosystem that helps to cover the needs of the Treasury community. So with that, let me talk a bit about today's agenda. So before I start to talk about the SAP solution portfolio, I'm really excited that I will have a guest speaker joining me to talk a little bit about the market environment. Then I will talk about the solution portfolio, giving you some insights and what our solution capabilities are for the latest treasury and working capital management portfolio. We will then talk how to get there. So how can you take advantage of the solutions we are talking here about. And finally, I will take the opportunity to talk about the roadmap. But even here, stay tuned. Tomorrow, my colleagues, Harish and Arif, they will have the latest and greatest and the last presentation slot that is on the agenda. So stay tuned. They will go much more into details. So since we are in turbulent times, I'm very excited that I can invite François from the EACT to join me on stage to talk a little bit about the market environment. So François Masquelier is the chair of the EACT, and also he used to be treasurer and head of corporate finance at RTL Group. He has a doctor in tax law and a master's degree in economy, and we are working together since a couple of years, and I'm so excited that we finally made it to have you here on stage. Welcome to the show. Hi, François. How are you today?
I'm fine, and thanks for your invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here today. After 2 long years of lockdown, and it was impossible to meet our members, so I'm pleased to be there. And maybe to share with you my views on the market.
Absolutely. It's great to see the people back, and I had the impression we started yesterday already with a number of workshops that we were running here. So people are really excited. They take also advantage of the networking, and yeah, please do so over the course of the next 2 days, but we are also happy that you're here with us this morning. So François, I mentioned the EACT. At SAP, we are very famous for 3-letter acronyms, actually. So this is a 4-letter acronym. Can you explain a bit what EACT is all about?
Yeah, because I'm sure that some of you have no idea of who we are. So EACT, it's the European Association of Corporate Treasurers. So roughly we represent, let's say, 14,000 members, 6,500 companies. It's growing every day. We are sort of federation of the National Treasury Association. Those you know, ACT in UK, after VDT in Germany, etc. ASET in Spain, because we are in Spain. And so we represent 22 countries, 24 associations. However, we have new countries knocking on the door. Turkey is a potential candidate. Ukraine, in the current circumstances, you know that it's quite important. And we also talks with the Danish who would like to integrate a peer group. So that's the association in short. And we also celebrate an anniversary this year. It's the 20th anniversary, so it's not bad. So, and actually we started 20 years ago, but the main reason for being there when we set up the association, it's just to lobby and try to advocate on the EU level, because we know that these days the regulations are not decided in Berlin, in Madrid, it's decided in Brussels or in Strasbourg. So we try to influence, we try to share, we try to collaborate. So one of the, let's say, word you use, collaboration, is quite important. Collaboration between associations to talk to our stakeholders, the same sponsors as yours, the banks, the IT vendors. We try to share the best practices, and we try to influence, to try to advocate and to defend your interests, and we will talk about that later on. But so we try to be the voice of the corporate treasurers across Europe. It's quite important. And it goes beyond Europe, by the way, or beyond EU, because we still have the British in our association with the Swiss. You have a Swiss colleague over there. So, so we have countries outside the EU, because you know that these days we say EU, it's not only EU, it's more and larger than that. So that's in a nutshell is the idea to share, to collaborate, to raise the level of the best practices, to share best practices in Europe, and to help each other.
I can imagine that in your day-to-day life you are talking a lot with treasurers from other organizations. So given the current turbulences we are all in, the geopolitical crisis, all the challenges that we are seeing, we know treasurers are really busy these days to answer questions to the C-level. So what is your perspective? So what is the most important for treasurers these days?
So we have many issues these days. So we all know that we face what we can call a green swan. So, and after 2 years of lockdown, as you mentioned, we had a war in Europe. But despite that, our members remain quite positive. I think that the business is there, so we have really a positive view. What have we faced during this period? So a quest for liquidity. So a lot of people were quite scared by the liquidity, so they were drawing down on credit facilities, trying to negotiate new credit facilities, go on the capital market, etc. So we are back to the basics, I would say. We realize that liquidity is really one of the key focus, and we will talk and comment the result of our annual survey. So we would like to have visibility on cash and cash flow. Cash flow forecast is one of the key issues that every year at PwC Global Survey, at ESET level, or every surveys across the world, it's always coming as a first, let's say, priority for corporate treasurers. And we are still using a lot of Excel spreadsheet to produce reports, so we are not well equipped to respond in a real time to the CFO and to the C-level. So, and that's it's something that we are all here today to increase the digital aspect. So, and after this health crisis, we started with a war. So new challenges ahead. So not very easy for us. So. Even if you are not hit directly by the war, because you are not dealing with Ukraine and Russia, you can be hit just because of the commodity price, for example, volatility of the market. So we need to face this kind of volatility. You mentioned FX in your presentation. It's quite important to automate FX management. FX management remain a very, let's say, manual process within Treasury. And we should not forget the quest for talent. In every industry, but in Treasury in particular, it's difficult to find the right talents. So we have an inflation, we have less talent, we have less students in our schools. I was discussing with FT in Paris, we realized that we have less students in Treasury courses. So maybe it's because the Treasury is not perceived as sexy as it is. So we need to work on that to attract new talent and to make sure so we diversify our talent because we need new skills.
And the point that you have raised in terms of importance of cash flow forecasting, that is what we are hearing from our clients as well, and we will touch on that during the conference. So given the aspect that, of course, these are turbulent times and the treasurers have lots of things to do with all the priorities that we've talked, are there any recommendations that you could give to the audience, you know, to be prepared for this turbulent time?
Yeah, of course, we all want to be more resilient, to be prepared to this kind of event, even if it's per definition difficult to plan and to anticipate. So, but the world is still fast growing and fast changing. So we need to be prepared. So we need to update our knowledge, and so it's why it's good to come to this kind of conferences to stay tuned and to be informed. And it's one of the role of our association, by the way. We try to work. And we will talk about a few documents we produce to produce content and to make sure that we inform our members. We can also be peer groups, and so where we try to talk to each other and exchange our experience. So it's important to be more sustainable. Maybe if you can just back once. So I wanted to mention that it's important to revamp your IT project. I was surprised. I don't know if it's what you commercial teams are noticing. A lot of companies are still using and running the same TMS for 10, 15 years. Could you imagine? So I think that we hear that we have a lot of projects to change, revamp the IT infrastructure because it was a very complex structure with a lot of different solutions added up over the years. And I'm sure that in the case study you will present this afternoon, so we'll have opportunity to see how you can revamp your organization. And fraud and cyber risk, we have seen an increase of cyber risk over the 2 years for the reason you can imagine. So we need to be more digital.
Okay. So I can also imagine that with the points you made, that many treasurers are also a bit scared in terms of keeping up in pace with the technology is changing, right? Larger IT projects and stuff like that. We from SAP, of course, we are also trying to influence basically the community that there might be also topics which they can leverage technology that is in place out of the ERP and thinking about collaboration that is needed within the finance function, that there might be also points that we can contribute with more data provided to the treasurer and then linking to the treasury function. Is that something that you would see also as a trend?
Exactly, a trend. So we need to make better use of the data. We are sitting on a huge quantity of data, but I'm sure that we are underusing, let's say, managing this data. That's the first trend. Second trend, we need also expertise and skills, I mentioned, to make sure we can get this access to the data and make something out of it. And then we need the IT solution to make sure that we can access the data. And again, the big and major difficulty is to integrate all the information. So I think that we need to pass through this digital transformation, and it's certainly the main reason why you are all here today to consider that. You mentioned collaboration. I do believe in co-creation. and we work together on a journey to Treasury with BNP. So co-creation is quite important. We should co-create with banks, with APIs, with IT solution, because if we customers are always complaining, we should also be part of the solution. And I realize that the co-creation, let's say, example we are doing with some of the banks, the most proactive banks in this world, are quite good, because at the end of the day, it will be a solution that will be promoted to all their customers. So flexibility, agility is quite important, so we need to be more agile and to respond to that, but for that you need the appropriate tool to make sure that you have access to the right information, and to be real time. It's also quite important, because what we notice, we cannot wait 1 or 2 days to get access to the information. So I've mentioned the risk management optimization, especially with the high volatility we are facing at the moment, inflation, high interest rates, so everything is changing, it's quite important. And better integrate the businesses, we mentioned that, and to have better collaboration with the other department. So the idea is, at the end of the day, it's to be able to scale up your organization and to make sure that you will, let's say, be ready to face the future challenges.
Besides the topics that we have seen here, given the aspect that, of course, the EACT is also involved in lots of legal changes, I think nobody is really excited seeing the number of legal changes that you're going to present here. But give us a perspective. So I think it's an important one, and with the environment being like that, I think it's a very important angle. Maybe.
But if I can maybe give a few recommendations and takeaways for today, including the regulation I will explain in a minute. So I would say, so it's important to partnering. I've mentioned partnering with your colleagues within the finance department, partnering with the affiliates, partnering with the stakeholders. I'm sure that you mentioned that. We mentioned working capital, you mentioned Tolia. It's a way to partner with your customers and suppliers. It's important to develop our digital acumen and to raise our digital, let's say, appetite, maybe by hiring new skills. It's also important to seize the opportunity we have these days. We have a lot of opportunities. Don't see only the threats, seize the opportunities to reposition our function, and we try to help you on that. It's also important to make sure that you have the right skills, not only hard skills, but also soft skills, because we need to sell a lot of IT project to the C-suite. And last but not least, regulation. It's important just to have a focus. On this slide, you can see that there are 5 major areas, 15 major regulation, maybe more than that, but at least 15 we have identified, we work on with Fleischmann in Brussels. Just to give you a flavor, I know that Jim is there from JP Morgan Asset Management, but we work a lot with, let's say, INFA on money market fund reform. They would like to remove the LVNAV. We worked on tax reform. Debra is a good example. We have ATAT 3 coming. Payment, PSD2, it's on the review. Potentially we will have a PSD3. So the digital currencies. Basel III will have a huge impact on cost of guarantees, and it could cost millions to some companies. We are in talk with Alstom, with Siemens, a lot of big players being concerned by that. And we have also a review of EMIR and MIFIR, and so we try also to maintain the exception for the collateral, because it's quite important. And you also mentioned IFRS. Of course, we keep following that. And the last but not least, ESG. So quite important.
That means for treasurers it's important to keep engaged and to work with the associations, with the local ones, but also with the European ones, to influence maybe to some extent. I know that the Germans were playing very hard to keep the payment factory as it is in the past when we discussed payments on behalf scenarios 3 years ago. So thank you, François. I think there's one announcement we want to do for Eurofinance.
Yeah, but maybe 2 announcements. First, the result of the European EACT survey on Treasury will be released in TMI this week, so you will see Mercury raising, so it's an interesting article to see the result. I'm sure you will be interested. The second one is Journey to Treasury, so it will be the 7th edition, I guess. So we work together, and thanks to SAP, to PwC, to BNP Paribas and EACT, to produce this document, and it will be released at the occasion of Eurofinance in Vienna on the 20th of September. So I hope that you will enjoy reading Journey to Treasury.
Absolutely. Thank you, François, for being with us. François will be here for the next 2 days. Take advantage of having a chat with him and engage. And thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what we've heard this morning is probably not surprising for many of you. Many of you are in this daily conversations, but just to sum up a bit where we are, we see, of course, a tremendous need for better solutions helping the treasurers to go through those turbulent times. Besides that, the importance of working capital is so essential these days with the turbulences, with the lack of liquidity for many companies, that we feel that is an important topic that we need to add also to our product roadmap, and we'll talk about that. And last but not least, there's also a topic that kicks in for many organizations, which is basically a business transformation. Many organizations, and I talked with some of them yesterday, are going to introduce subscription-based model, which has a huge change also on the way they are dealing in treasury, going from high-value transactions to high-volume transactions, which has certainly an impact on cash flow forecasting and topics that you have in finance operations. So what I would like to start off is to talk about this aspect of collaboration. And talking about collaboration within finance and in treasury, we see clearly a change in the discussions that we are having with our peer groups. So, and this slide, by the way, is not an SAP slide. It's taken out of the McKinsey Global Payments Report, and it talks about the importance of working capital. And if you look into this major process that is being outlined here, invoice to pay on the left and accounts receivable automation or order to cash to the right, it's very obvious that those big processes are typically covered in your ERP system. The good news for you being here and for many of you that are using is that Treasury is just part of your ERP system as well. So essentially, between the two major processes, there's a lot that you can benefit from when activating cash management on Treasury within SAP without having duplication of data, duplication of structures, duplication of user administration rights and stuff like that. And there is the working capital dimension because, of course, the ERP has more than just the accounts payable, accounts receivable. It has inventory. It has all the information that you would require in order to come to a proper working capital strategy. So that's why we're also so proud that the company has made a major acquisition earlier this year, and I will come to that in a second. Let's talk about the treasury ecosystem and how we frame our solution portfolio as of today. We've talked about the intelligent enterprise. You have seen that in the middle section on the business application layer, we have the ERP function, and treasury is just part of that. We are structuring treasury in 4 major areas, which is payments and bank communication, cash and liquidity management, secure financial risk, which is essentially treasury and risk management, and last but not least, the analytics functionality on top of that. Given the aspect that technology is changing tremendously and we are moving fast speed to the cloud, we are really also leveraging the business technology platform. And this is used to provide you hybrid solutions that can help you to simplify the connectivity and the integration to the outside world with a very scalable layer. And prominent examples are bank connectivity, digital payments, where you can connect to credit card PSP providers, or having integration layers to credit agencies to optimize your credit management process, or thinking about additional capabilities that you can plug in, leveraging a cloud solution. Even SAP Analytics Cloud could be an example of that. Further to that, we talked about integration and collaboration, and of course, not every client has the ideal situation that every data is being stored in the core ERP. So they need to find layers to integrate, and there are APIs, there are web services, and upload capabilities available that allow you to feed in data from other important sources that are relevant for your treasury function. But further to that, there are more integration scenarios that we are using really for the treasury function. So considering you have all the data in place and you can work on your treasury position, you want to do trade. And of course, there is possibilities to get, for example, market data in nowadays via the App Store by clicking a subscription model of your choice that allows you to bring in the data, but also allowing you to get connectivity to trading partners. And we are very proud that the trading platform application opens again the gateway to the community of fintechs and banks, allowing us to collaborate better and provide a seamless experience for the treasurer out of the backend system to do the trades, also taking advantage of the capabilities of the digital platforms. Lastly, there was an acquisition that was made by SAP earlier this year, which complements nicely our portfolio, and I'm very proud and happy to welcome the new Tolians to the Treasury community at SAP. You will see a lot of content from the colleagues with microforms and additional sessions tomorrow morning. So welcome to you guys. We are very happy that you are joining us. So this is the portfolio, and let's look a little deeper into the core capabilities in the middle section. I talked about the 4 layers, and let me start off from the left, also to give you a little bit of perspective where we have really put laser focus to provide additional innovations. And over the last 2 years, there is absolutely a clear statement that I can give is that the entire payments and cash management area has been seeing a lot of demand from our clients. In particular, those clients that are adopting to S/4HANA journeys, they are seeing the value in comparison to what they have seen 10 years ago. François was talking about customers running TMS solutions roughly more than 10 years to a large extent. Nowadays, they can check the possibilities, what's delivered out of my ERP, and if I'm anyhow running into the investment of doing an S/4HANA transformation, there's a lot of stuff that I can benefit of. Payments has been seen as a major innovation layer. So many customers are going to centralize, they're running payment factories, they want to increase control and compliance for their payment processes, adopting latest monitoring standards, having the possibility to take advantage of new standards, status messages such as Swift GPI, which are of course embedded into our solution application. And lastly, having the need to get more control and accountability for the treasurer on the payment operations, which means essentially we have invented a new payment factory, a more simplified version. It's called Advanced Payment Management. Many of you have been in the workshop yesterday, which was sold out, shows again that there is a strong demand for that. One of the most important aspects to centralize payments, to have at the end of the day a more reliable data set for all the cash ins and out in your ERP, also linking that to the cash management function, including cash flow forecasting. So that's a very important point to increase transparency, to allow the treasurer to have the right answers for the number of questions that they're receiving. Last but not least, multi-bank connectivity and scalable cloud service, allowing clients to take advantage of a hosted infrastructure provided by SAP that connects you either to your bank partners via APIs or via host-to-host, or even to Swift, which has an embedded Swift layer, and even possibilities to connect to EBEX, which is certainly also one of the drivers of our success. Cash management is very tightly integrated into that area, and many of you know that with the introduction of S/4HANA, we have reinvented cash management with a new bank account management system, with the possibilities on having cash management in a complete new user interface, combining analytical applications and transactional data out of one system, having the possibilities also to further increase the automation level by, for example, introducing new cash and bank statement reconciliation capabilities. And last but not least, talking about cash flow forecasting, liquidity planning, and even predictive forecasting capabilities that have made its way into the product portfolio. We talked about volatility. We talked about the importance of understanding the position that leads us to the situation that we have either an investment or borrowing decision on the TRM side. We are very happy that we have a very complex and solid treasury and risk management functionality in our ERP system, allowing you to deal with all the financial instruments that you need to have in today's environment, being it FX, being it money market securities, derivatives. It's all in there. Even commodities can be handled out of that to manage the volatility and mitigate the risks resulting out of various areas. And last but not least, there is the analytical functionality that runs like an umbrella over the entire solution set, providing you the right level of information to run your business. Let's make a deep dive into the certain areas. Payments, just from an architectural point of view, this is a very simplified architectural map how customers can benefit of that payment factory approach that I have just outlined and explained. And we know that many clients are looking into that, how they can optimize and modernize their payment platform, taking into account a good format, payment format harmonization strategy, for example. A bank strategy, who are my cash management bank partners that I want to connect to the platform, which system I need to embed to my central treasury and payment platform to have all the data that are relevant. Do I need to run an in-house bank? Is that a business case for me, given, for example, the aspect that we are a multinational company with lots of subsidiaries running intercompany processes? This could certainly of value for you as well. So we are continuously modernizing this platform. We have invented advanced payment management 2 years ago, which has seen a very good adoption path, fully integrated into the cash management functionality and into the payment monitoring capabilities, combined with the aspect of the multi-bank connectivity, providing you a scalable layer to connect to your bank partners. And lastly, also the possibility to have everything interconnected. So that means if you pick up a file out of a subsidiary system where the payment factory, of course, you run this also through your cash management and through your bank account management system. So they increase the level of compliance and being reliable in terms of the processes being used. Within cash and working capital management, there's of course one very exciting announcement, because as I mentioned earlier this year, SAP acquired the company Taulier. Working capital is top of mind, and over the last years, I have met so many clients asking us whether there is an embedded functionality in which they can trigger their working capital strategy. And we all agree that there is a good fit between the backend capabilities that are provided within SAP solutions, within SAP Finance, for the office of the CFO, and even for the treasurer, which is helping us to get the right level of information to trigger a working capital decision. Because at the end of the day, essentially it starts with understanding your cash position, your liquidity forecast, your investment and borrowing strategy, and at the end of the day also your inventory, if that plays a role for you. Together with the business network capabilities provided out of the Ariba portfolio and the Taulier platform, we have a good fit combining the strength of the companies together. And looking to that map, you see we can collaborate from left to right. On the left side, we have the SAP portfolio, in particular the data related to finance operations, treasury, cash management, which can be the trigger point, having the right level of analytics on top of that, to get into the platform, to trigger the action according to your needs and your detailed scenario. Stay tuned on that. Take the opportunity to talk with the colleagues from Taulier, join the microforums and the session tomorrow to learn more about the joint capabilities, and then we will further invest into our joint roadmap to provide seamless integration between the scenarios. Cash management essentially is our starting point for everything that happens in Treasury, and we have seen the cash management importance when we were talking about the interconnection between the invoice to pay and the order to cash process. We're having a 360-degree view, I hope it wasn't me, all there, allowing you to have from the capturing of the bank statement over the cash position, forecast, planning, and even forecasting, one very good comprehensive solution set, including the master data layer with bank accounts and stuff like that. So we've talked a lot about predictive capabilities, and we worked on that. I was talking about the business technology platform earlier today and the capabilities that are provided with SAP Analytics Cloud. So we have teamed up with the colleagues from development and built a first scenario which can showcase you the possibility to leverage the data that you have in cash management, essentially based off our one exposure data layer, together with the data that we can mix up out of other finance and treasury related functionalities, where you can set individual influencing factors to do forecasting according to your needs. So you set dimensions that you want to manipulate, and then you can do predictive scenarios that are helping you to better understand maybe scenario analysis, what-if analysis, stress testing, and stuff like that. Arif and Harish will talk about that tomorrow, so stay tuned on that. Lastly, financial risk management being very important these days, given the volatility that we have in the market. That is top of mind for many treasurers as well, to have a good insight on their exposures, taking into account the current treasury policy, whether this is still meeting today's environment or whether it needs to be adjusted. What about the hedging strategy? What are the instruments you are dealing with? What are the counterparties you are dealing with? And Treasury is being enabled within the ERP function to help you on that, with seamless integrations to the ecosystem, in particular to the trading partners, the FX portals, money market portals, wherever you want to connect, bank portals can be made possible, providing you a seamless integration, not having the need that your front office dealers are ending up in an isolated world. They can also benefit from the collaboration that is being provided with the Treasury portfolio from SAP. And last but not least, we've talked about analytics, and analytics is so important these days. If you consider your private environment, you're used to getting information all day long, and having that in mind is of course not good enough to run Excels to get the data that you would need to run to your daily business operations. So we are continuously investing in our SAP Analytics Cloud strategy that allows you to get real-time data out of the underlying elements that we have in S/4HANA, but not limited to S/4HANA. It also helps us to get via the interfaces feed in data from other sources, and we have made proposals that we are delivering out of the box that are helping you to get a full understanding for the treasury functions. And I know that Steffen Diel, our group treasurer, and the team, they are leveraging that to a large extent. They have also pushed us to get into that direction, provided very insightful information to make it the right way, and we are having, in meanwhile, a very good variety of dimensions, from liquidity management over cash management into bank relationship management, giving you some perspective about your wallet sizing and your share of wallet, until the counterparty risk, the market risk dimension that can be provided out of the box using SAC, accessing data from your existing treasury function, which is of course something that is extremely helpful. How to get there? So we've talked a lot about the capabilities and the possibilities that you have with Treasury, and you will hear even more about that over the next 2 days. You may have heard also about a new terminology that is very much common in these days at SAP. In its 50th year, it's called Rise with SAP. It was introduced back in 2021 at the beginning of the year, and it's actually essentially a journey map that helps you to jump on the train to bring your existing system environment to S/4HANA and essentially also into the cloud. And SAP has made up its mind what is needed and what is required to customers to get there. And I know that many of you that are dealing with the account managers of SAP, you must have heard about that. It's essentially a package that includes a certain number of services. It starts with your ERP journey. So it is an assessment where you're coming from. You have an existing landscape, or you want to start a greenfield with something new. You can get a package that allows you to have the right level of tailor-made solution fit running onto that journey towards S/4HANA. It includes services in which you can stress test your existing processes and having mapping to new processes. It also allows you to leverage capabilities out of the SAP universe, being it capabilities out of the business network, out of the business technology platform like SAC or other services. And it allows you also to get services out of our consulting unit, helping you to accelerate and to speed up the process of getting onto the S/4HANA journey. This essentially tailor-made also for your choice of cloud solution, whether it is a private cloud or whether it is a public cloud or whether it is still on-premise, it doesn't matter. It's all possible with RISE with SAP. One contract, one simplified approach in which SAP is supporting your journey towards S/4HANA. Stay tuned on that. You will hear more about that over the next 2 days from the colleagues as well. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, in which I will also highlight a bit on our roadmaps. And as you know, roadmaps are public at SAP, so we are publishing the roadmaps on a regular basis, and they're being updated on a regular basis, so everybody can access that using Google, just typing in SAP roadmaps. But to make it a bit easier for you, we have summarized the most important aspect, because sometimes it's of course a little bit maybe from a taxonomy not that easy to understand how to map that to underlying business events. So we have captured our roadmap into 4 dimensions, and let me start with the technology sector, which is essentially at the heart of everything at SAP. Of course, With moving more and more services to the cloud, there is the aspect of modernization of our cloud platform. So taking the existing portfolio to make it available for the new technology layer. And some of you have heard about investments that we are doing. For example, advanced payment management is available in our public cloud solution since years. The new cash management, treasury and risk management, all available in the cloud. We always made the cloud first approach. Same applies, of course, for the integration scenarios, talking about MBC, digital payments, TPI, trading platform integration, all cloud services, and this is, of course, essentially something that keeps us busy over the course of the next couple of days. Predictive is something that we see as absolutely important, and we started with first use cases, but this will not be the end of the journey. What is also quite important, and sometimes maybe a bit not rated high enough for the function of finance operations and treasury, we are working on the next generation of enterprise service management, and you may wonder what that means. Enterprise service management is essentially a layer that combines various aspects of your business environment, in particular in finance, but not limited to finance. It also connects to other services like HR, service management. It's essentially the new generation of our shared service framework. But it becomes more and more important, in particular when you think about collaboration, workflows, methodologies that are allowing you to interconnect with your teams from a shared service perspective. And this will be a layer that we are embedding to the entire S/4HANA functionality. And this will also benefit for us in treasury, in particular on the accounts receivable, accounts payable functionality, where we have more automation happening, because it includes then also services like bots and intelligent use cases and stuff like that. We also made first examples in crypto payments. So we announced at Sapphire partnership with the company BitPay and have made available first use cases to support crypto payments. And Arif and Harish will talk about that a bit more tomorrow. Even with the current thunderstorm that we are happening in the digital currency market, we see demand for that, and we will continue on that one as well. Next chapter is the ecosystem. Everybody is talking about APIs, and we have partners here from the fintech and from the bank community, and APIs are everywhere, and APIs sometimes being seen as the perfect solution for everything. Essentially, you need to look into the details. What is an API all about, and to which extent you can leverage it? Is it a standardized API? Is it an API that is scalable enough to be part of a standard solution software like SAP? But this is essentially something that we are looking at, in particular for improving our services related to payments and bank connectivity, but not limited to that. There are certainly also other use cases in which APIs playing a major role. In addition to that, collaboration within the ecosystem remains a key aspect, and we are going through a journey also to reinvent, to some extent, commercialization models. And of course, with data enabled into the business world, with services that can run scalable in the cloud, there will be new models in which we are also inventing new services together with the ecosystem, in which we can leverage knowledge from both parties to make new solutions available. And that is essentially something that we are looking at as well. On the business side, talking about capabilities, there's a major investment that we are doing these days, bringing the in-house cash capabilities into the public cloud, which essentially means reinventing the in-house bank as a complementary solution to APM. This does not mean for existing customers that you have to change right now. Instead of that, it allows you really to think about the future, and we will have a step-by-step approach in which over time the new in-house bank capabilities will be at the same level as the existing ones, but we are serving the needs for the cloud market to a large extent as well. As well as digital payment use cases where we see a strong demand for, and last but not least, the dimension of working capital management and the collaboration with Taulier and how we bring together the products is of course also something that we are looking at, working on a joint product roadmap. Last but not least, ESG. You can't run a treasury conference these days without talking about ESG and environmental, social, and governmental elements. Elements that we are having here is, of course, thinking about sustainable finance, to which extent treasury can support here. How about trading with the new kind of instruments that are coming in, green bonds, sustainable finance elements, and also carbon emission management, which is, of course, a hot topic for many of our industry clients as well. So that's, in a nutshell, what we are planning to do over the next couple of months and quarters and even years. I'm happy that Harish and Arif will make a deep dive on those topics tomorrow, so stay tuned on that. And I thank you for being with us here this morning. Enjoy the rest of the conference, enjoy the networking, take advantage of the great community, and thank you for being with us.